So he'll be in the party for the intro, and then I'll just invite him through. Well, not invite him, but you know, just open the interview or whatever. Alright, now let me get the link for the stream. Alright, let me just add Pinto now. Hey Fabian, can you hear us? Alright, oh good. Hello guys, welcome back to Pro Am Formula Racing for round 4 of Division 1. I'm one of your hosts, Ventani, and to join me as always, Labyrinth. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you doing?
Yeah, thank you. It's, as always say, it's a pleasure to be here for Division 1. Always giving good racing, especially around last week in Portimao where we had another five-way battle pretty much for the lead.
Yeah, Portimao was definitely a very interesting one. It was a lot of sort of speculation who would actually take the race.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously came out to phase Pantera, also known as Fabian, to take his third win in a row. And from the first 3 rounds, he's looking very dominant early on.
Yeah, I definitely expect him to be a fan favorite, especially for the fact that he's quite new to this, if memory is correct, as well.
Yeah, I believe he is a rookie this year, and luckily enough, we do have him for an interview. Hello, Fabian. How you doing?
Hi everyone. Good. I enjoy driving on this track, so I hope for a good race.
Yeah, so today, obviously, Catalunya. But to get into the interview, you've got obviously 3 wins from the first 3 rounds, and you're really showing your dominance in the season's championship very early on.
Yeah, I on the first race I was a reserve driver, and then I got a seat in Haas. So today Scott joined us. He's a pretty fast guy, so he can win this race. But I hope that today won't be safety cars because I have strategy which can win my race.
Yeah.
But also you can't really overtake on this. I mean, it's hard to overtake. You have this long straight with the RS, but it's hard to follow in this, fast corners when you can lose the rear.
Yeah, definitely. So, coming from the fact you are a rookie, maybe you're looking to follow Felix's form of last season and winning in your first season seemingly effortlessly, at least what we've seen so far from the first 3 rounds.
Yeah, maybe I hope I will win these championships, but it will be tough. There is really a tight between us.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously you did have that battle in Bahrain with Felix, where you came out on top. So definitely maybe sending some early, I'm going to say, confidence shaking for Felix compared to you. And, obviously, focusing on today, do you want to maybe give us an insight on your strategy, or is that a bit too far?
Yeah, I won't tell you my strategy today.
Oh, good, oh, good. Thank you, and best of wishes
Maybe
on track today.
maybe after the race, I will tell you what I want to do.
Yeah, alright, thank you. Best of luck.
Thank you.
Good luck, Pantera.
Okay, so obviously today's race is around the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya, and it's located on the eastern coast of Spain near Barcelona. The track's got 16 corners make up the 4.6 kilometers of track with 9 turns to the right and 7 to the left. It's an all-round circuit with very many low, medium, and high-speed corners, showing drivers have to be an all-round skilled to be quick around here. A highlight of the last chicane is one of the trickiest parts of the circuit, where the curb is inviting, but if you go over it a bit too much, it's so costly. So hopefully gonna play an interesting race here today, which we will be getting underway in 3 minutes. Looks like someone has just left, but we do have a full grid. And just hoping for some exciting racing, definitely, Labyrinth.
Yeah, this particular track's not a very fan favorite of mine due to the fact that it's not really one designed for overtaking opportunities. Yeah, it's good as a test track, but I don't know why it's still on the calendar.
Yeah, I guess obviously it is a staple. And now hosting with the new 2 pre-season tests, one a private, one the public in Bahrain. Obviously staying as one of the test tracks, but as you said, I agree. I don't see why it's still on the calendar. It's provided a couple good racing moments, especially the 2016 race it was, where Max Verstappen won on debut for Red Bull after the two Mercedes crash, and there've been that Vettel overtake down the main straight, but as you said, there's not really any overtaking zones apart from that main straight.
Yeah, even that the second straight as well, that's just way too short for an overtaking opportunity.
Yeah, definitely. So it's really going to come down to drivers' skill if they can keep it on track and have the pace at the same time, just to win this race. And hopefully, if there is a bit of rain, it can just shake things up, and that'll pretty much be the only factor. Because if you're fast around here, there's no way you can be really caught, as I saw in the Division AU race when I was commentating that midweek. I believe it was PAFR Luke who came out on top to win his second race in a row, in that he's currently racing in Division 2 tonight. But the Drivers' Championship we're going to look at, Fabian, also known as Face Materi, who just joined us, obviously leading the championship after winning all 3 races so far on 46 points. Atom Kev in the Red Bull, he's in second on 30 points, so with a 16-point gap, he needs to get a win and a fastest lap, with Fabian not taking a single point if he wants to be tied going into the first break, obviously, after this round. And then Jays is in P3 after getting 2 third places in a row on 20 points, so he's 10 points behind Kev there. Interesting to note, in both Imola and Portugal, the same podium has occurred both times. Maybe it obviously won't happen this race, as Jez is not racing, but could we see another Williams up there?
Possibly. Jez has had a very good form since the start of the season. He's, well, you were saying, he's pretty much got the same position on the podium the last 2 races, so he's definitely got some pace behind him.
Yeah, definitely. And gonna take a look at now the constructors. Haas are leading on 50 points. Both him and Racing Up to are in that team. I believe Freestyler isn't racing tonight. Oh wait, no, Racing Up to isn't racing tonight. I believe he was a reserve, and he's now reserving for Aston Martin, so maybe he can follow form on that. But Freestyler back in his position. Red Bull in current P2 with 34 points, 16 points to Haas, so with a good race from Atom Kev and maybe his reserving teammate Vertex, who we have seen quite a lot obviously as well this season, being a consistent reserve. Maybe he can help Red Bull boost up above Haas but going into the break. And Williams in third on 29 points. So very close between second and third there, and even catchable to Haas, all the top 3. But looks like we're about to get underway. 19 drivers we're going to have, 1 missing, and that will be one of the Ferraris.
I don't know if you can quite see it on the screen just before, but there's that little small lift just after the second main straight, just on the exit of the skate road there. That's a part of the track that I've found quite difficult myself. If you get it wrong, you're going straight into a barrier.
Yeah, definitely. Going into, obviously, the old turn 10, what it is. Which for real life takes the escape road, the now very fast, smooth, I would say, left-hander, and then, as you say, going into turn 11, if you don't lift or take it right, very easy to go into the barrier, as I have done myself. As qualifying is finally underway, we're going to wait for the first driver to come out, and I believe it could be a very interesting qualifying session. Obviously 18 minutes the single session qualifying format that Pro Am Formula Racing runs on the Sundays. It looks like a Williams is coming out first. I'm going to have a look at who that is. It's going to be Shocked. Or I'm going to call him Shocked. I know it's not right, but that will be his name. He's one of the reserves. I've never actually seen him race before, so I don't exactly know what his pace is going to be like. Obviously, it's going to be pretty quick considering he is in this Tier 1. He's got the Alfa Romeo of Charlie behind him, a veteran, I would say, compared to others. He's staying very close, Charlie is. He's maybe trying to put Shocked off a little bit. I certainly would be. I don't like it when drivers follow me through a qualifying lap, so no, he's finally backing off, so he's just trying to get some heat into the tyres maybe. Also someone that hasn't exactly had the best of start seasons, even though he's got the pace, Cool Guy. He had that podium, or no, he had a P4, sorry, in Bahrain, and then got unluckily taken out in Imola, and then he got disqualified for what was labelled as a stupid decision by Codemasters in Portugal. So he's hoping to return to form here in that AlphaTauri seat. But yeah, as I said, we got Shocked for the first lap. He's coming to the end of sector.
And Cool Guy has just spun on the exit of turn 2.
Yeah, I've just seen that there. We've got Shocked coming through for his flying lap. He's just ended his sector 1. He's coming through turn 6 now, and through 7 and 8. The uphill, or the one of the two uphill chicanes, very easy to lose grip through both of those uphill chicanes, as you said. We're going to see a lot of spins probably through there, and turn 1. The curbs very deadly through here. If you get on one just that ever so much, send you round and possibly into the barrier, losing your front wing, or even worse, a tyre. We're going to come for Shocked here. He's coming round 16 now. He's coming across the line for a 1:16.2. Pretty decent pace for a reserve here. Charlie only a 17.0 on those mediums, I believe, because he usually goes out on mediums straight away. And I would be right in saying that. So yeah, 16.2. Very good banker. And wouldn't have expected it from someone who's pretty unknown, I would say, in PAFR. And Pantera actually goes slower than him. So our championship leader is 300s behind one of the reserves. So if a seat opens up, which I believe there could be, obviously, with people coming in and out all the time, and Ash has retired on the exit of 16, and who was that spinning around in front of Pantera? It was his teammate Freestyler. So we've already got our first DNF of I'm gonna have a look. Ash. It's Ash who's getting used to wheel. It seems like he's just gotten a bit on that exit curb of turn 15, which very easy to do. And it seems like he's lost his tyre going straight into the barrier.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just saw that from on board with Havina, who just invalidated after invalidating his first lap as well. He just obviously trying to open up turn 1, as most drivers do. If you ride over that curb and go 4 wheels off ever so slightly, the game will punish you for that. We've got Felix now on provisional pole by another 300ths to the reserve of Shocked. The Aston Martin showing form around here, and possibly could finally take his first win in Division 1 and become the second driver to do so this season. He's quite the way down the order after a DNF in Portugal, and I believe a DNF also in Imola after getting second place in Bahrain. So he's only got the 12 points to his name. That's good enough for, I believe, what would be around 5th or 6th. I'll get confirmation on that soon. but showing form early on in these first runs with a pretty packed field. The top 5 separated by 0.2 of a second already, and 4 of those very well known being Kev, who's in second, and Nux. Getting that podium in Bahrain as well, and getting quite unlucky, I would say, in Portugal, but definitely still up there. He had to pull a 2-stop after pitting quite early off those soft compound tyres to the mediums. So I'm going to get the full standings here and see where Felix is on those 12 points. He's just behind Cool Guy. He's in 6th place. So Noah, also known as Nux, in the Alpine is on 16 points, and Cool Guy in the Esteban is on 14. So that's your top 6. And then we have Big Boy, who's in 7th on 11. Victor, who's also known as Iron Apple, who isn't racing tonight, on 9 points. Kavudi is on 5 points in that Aston Martin, who I believe also isn't racing tonight. He's being replaced by racing up to his Indian counterpart. And Charlie is also on 5 points, and that is your top 10. So I'm going to ride on board now with Vit, if you want to join me, and I'm going to take you through a lap, just show the viewers if there's anyone watching yours. Oh no, he's actually coming into the pits. I thought he wouldn't be. He was on medium, so he's coming in, so sorry about that. But Cool Guy, the only other guy on a lap right now, has spun around turn 11, as you're saying. Very easy to come off there, and he's just on the infield. His second spin of the session. Oh, I've just caught that on camera. Cool Guy. He's just done something illegal. You're not allowed to cut the track as he just did, so hopefully no one else does. Turn 13 to 15, that outside escape road, which is used for the GT and MotoGP. You're not allowed to take that to come into the pits quickly, or just to get onto, well, obviously you can't use it to get onto your lap quicker because it will invalidate your next lap because you just gain extra speed. But yeah, definitely not allowed to. So if that is caught up by anyone on stream, he could be facing, I believe it's only a license point, but that can add up towards the end of the season.
Yeah.
I've got Gabri in the McLaren, who's coming back for his second race now after debuting in Portimao. He showed pretty strong pace in qualifying and was mid-pack in the race. I believe he's still a reserve, but he's going to definitely want to keep trying to prove his spot. He goes for a 17.5 and slots himself into P7 out of the 10 runners that have already set a lap. So
17.5 is actually not too bad around here. Actually, still quite high up there in the midfield.
Yeah, it's definitely. Yeah, definitely one of those midfield times of 17. You're going to be looking pole maybe into the 115s towards the end of the session. Obviously that top 5 or 6, because Cool Guy is there, and Cool Guy is in that top 5 with Shocked. Those guys are just pretty much in their league of their own, I would say. Everyone else, if they come close to them, it would be maybe a 1 or 2 round thing. These guys consistently on the pace, as we get Nux at 116.1 replacing first and now going provisional pole with 8 minutes left, so 10 minutes gone in the session, and we're getting towards the end of the second runs now. Everyone going to be coming around for their second lap or going into the pits to prepare for their third. Yeah, as I was saying, these top 5 in a league of their own, consistently race after race, showing even last season these guys that were there for last season showing it. And Shocked, the first of the drivers to go into the 115s, is 15.7. That's 4/10 quicker than second place of Nux, who just set his lap. So we can see an upset from the reserve here, showing the more experienced counterparts that he is racing today, that he's not here to really play around. So it's very nice to see these reserves who come in and just throw everything on their head, because it just gives that sense of dynamic. You know, rather than have that same top 3, top 5 race after race. So to add an extra person to kind of maybe put them in their place a bit.
Yeah, the Pantera, for example, you know, he's won 3 out of the last 3, so Shock's obviously giving him a run for his money. I think we're actually going to probably have a change of a podium, maybe.
I mean, we'll definitely obviously get that change of podium. Whether it's the same constructors or not, that's to be debated, but definitely, obviously, because Jays is not racing and Shocked is taking his place, so in a sense it is still the same cars on that podium. If it does remain, it could still be the same car, sorry, on the podium. But right now it's showing Felix and Nux both showing up Pantera, who's still in the pits, I believe only done the 1 run. 16.301, so he's only going for the 2, maybe saving a set of softs. Could be going for a 2 stop actually then, seeing as that maybe he's only going for the 2 runs as he wants to save a set, because there are 4 sets technically available, but in this single session you don't get access to that 4th set of tyre. So this could be early insight if I'm right. He could be going for a 2 stop, maybe relying on safety cars. And just throwing everyone off in that previous interview, saying that he doesn't want safety cars when he could maybe mean the opposite.
Yeah, it's quite hard to actually sort of tell with some of your big rivals what their strategy actually is.
Yeah, definitely. So we're going probably those guys who've already done their 2nd run, probably going for a 1 stop, only having that 1 set of fresh soft compound tyres. And I'm going to ride on board with Vit here. Yeah, so Vit currently on a fast lap. No, he's not actually, sorry. He's going to come around to start his fast lap. Currently in P12 in that Mercedes, sorry. No, he's coming in after another 0 run, so maybe getting spun or something. He's going to have to go out and put all the pressure really on for that final run. A 17.4 is his time. Do you want to take us through a lap on with someone? I'm gonna look who is coming across to start their lap next. It's one of the McLaren. No, that's Magnum. Cool guy will be the next. So if you want to take us around a lap, and I'll be right back.
Sure. Yeah, this cool guy is starters in lap time. He's on the main straight here, which does do a slight downhill on the approach to turn 1. So got a fast right of turn 1 and fast left of turn 2, and then we're going into a sort of a slow hairpin of turns 3. We go into turn 4, quite a heavy braking zone here. We'll go slightly a bit wide. We approach into a left of turn 5. Now this is one where you can sort of get onto the curves a little bit, but not too much. Approach to turn 6 and 7, which will punish driver if they have a little bit of gravel on their tyres.
Yeah, as we just see there, he goes for a spin. His 3rd one of the session, so he's going to want to cool down those tyres before the end of the lap, because he won't have enough time to really come into the pit and come out on a new set. So cool guy really putting pressure on the only guy out there who isn't DNF'd to not set a time yet, and I mean maybe his teammate Havino, who's only got that 27, but both AlphaTauris really putting the pressure on themselves in the end of the session. 2.5 minutes to go. I'm going to stay on board with Cool Guy here. Let's see if he can set that fast lap time. He's going to be following one of the Hasses, I believe, Pantera. I'll get confirmation of that. No, it's not. It's Freestyle ahead of him. So Cool Guy coming down the main straight. He's going to come across that curb onto the runoff, break around 50 meters. Don't want to take too much curb on the inside there, or through turn 3 or 4, as you just see again. He goes for another spin, so I don't know if he'll have enough time to really come around for another lap. Cool Guy not liking Spain whatsoever. But as we haven't seen Felix One, just set 15.8, that's good enough for second position, ahead of Nux, and only just over a tenth behind Shock there. I don't know if he'll just cool down those tyres a little bit, go for a second lap towards the end of the session. He needs to go get a move on, maybe slot into that gap between Charlie and the Mercedes. He's going to want to hold this, maybe charge of that ERS, cool down those tyres, go for a second lap towards the end of the session. He's not going to want to use those tyres too much though. He will have to start on them. But someone, Pantera, going into turn 10. Jack Jackson just getting out of his way there. He's currently on a 16.3, good enough for 4th position, coming through turn 11 and 12. The double apex, I would say, Pantera, turn 12 is. And now through turn 13. And 14 and 15, the last chicane, where I was talking about, if you get on that inside curve through turn 15 a bit too much, you easily get thrown. And he loses the back end. I don't know if that was purposeful or something, because his steering wheel seemed to stick, but he's gone into the barrier, and that is now him on a 16.3, stuck there. Could Kev, who's on an outlap, about to come through if he has enough time, could that now invite Kev onto the second row of the grid? Nux coming through the final corner to now start his lap time. He's now coming down the main straight going into turn 1. Let's see how far across he goes over onto that runoff. He doesn't use it quite as much as many other people, but he takes a lot of curve through turn 2 and 3, and he loses a bit of the back end through turn 3 there. Now turn 4, where you just want to slightly drift out a bit wide, open up the steering, not scrub off any time. Through turn 5, and he loses the back end a bit too much. He's got a lot of oversteer on this setup. 300 down on his time through sector 1, so I don't know how good the rest of this lap will be. Felix One into the pits and retires, so he's got a best of second place if Nux can't improve here. Let's see what it is through the second sector. He's a 10th up. That would not put him ahead, but he went very wide through turn 9, or the exit of turn 9. Luckily not to invalidate. Coming through turn 12 now, the double apex, and the Dean now coming into the last chicane. How well will he take this? He takes it very well. He took a lot of that curb, got the sausage curb right under his car, making sure not to lose too much time. What is he gonna have across the line? It's a 16.0, so he stays in third, and that is your grid. Unless Toss the Caver, now he finishes Toss the Caver, so that is your grid for Division 1 Spain, round 4. We're going to get a confirmation of the grid. So Shocked, the Polish driver, so Poland providing very good racing in this Division 1. We've got Shocked on pole with a 15.7. Felix, the only other person to go sub 16, is lining up on second. Nux in the Alpine is third, with Pantera alongside him, the man who has won all 3 races, lining up on the second slot of that second row. Kev and up to occupy row 3 then. Charlie just behind them in 7th, and Big Boy in the Mercedes is taking 8th. Havino, the first of the AlphaTauris, in P9, and Magnum Galato in the first of McLaren's P10, and that is your top 10. We'll go through the rest of the grid when going through the formation lap. A very interesting session, I would say. A pretty big shock with the Reserve taking pole.
Yeah, I thought Pantera would have actually taken it. The fact that during the interview he seemed quite confident. So
Yeah, definitely. So he's only in 4th position there.
yeah,
So we're gonna go through the rest of the grid now. Interesting to note, racing up to the only guy inside the top 10 to qualify on the medium compound tyre. So maybe an extra pace that could have been shown there, but he's gonna want to go medium to probably soft, or even a medium to hard if he wants to make that one stop definitely safely. Jack Jackson in the Ferrari is 11th. Gabri in the second, and McLaren's is P12. Toss the Caber and Vertex on the 7th row of the grid. Vit and Freestyler occupy the 8th. Ashley is in the Alpine after retiring very early through turn 16. Cool Guy didn't end up setting a lap time in the second AlphaTauri, and Primetime Raz also after retiring early on is the only driver on that last row of the grid. Getting away for the formation lap now. So we got Shocked on pole on that right side of the grid, the grippy side. No, sorry, left side of the grid. Right side from our perspective on that camera in front facing onto them. So the grippier side, the racing line. That could provide a very good start from him. But I did see in Division Australia, PFR Luke started second, got a really good start on the right hand side of the grid, so maybe Felix could contend him into turn 1, and even Nux maybe if he gets a good enough start right behind Shock there, make it maybe 3 wide could we see into turn 1. That'd be interesting. Drivers have been noted not to go for any stupid dives into turn 1, as it's not one there. I reckon there are still going to be a couple through that corner, maybe seeing an early safety car, but we'll have to wait and see.
yeah, maybe for a couple of people that aren't particularly familiar with this circuit, they might brake a little bit too late and definitely go into the side of someone. But hopefully that doesn't happen.
Yeah, hopefully it doesn't. Hopefully we do see very clean racing and at least 10 laps before a safety car. Seal in the chat, one of my mates saying, why are you commentating on your own race? This is not my race. I'm one of the full-time commentators here every Sunday at 8:30 PM Melbourne time. And we're lining up for the grid, waiting for those 5 red lights. Shocks, left hand side the grid, P1, Felix 1, second place on that right hand side. Gonna wait for the last of the drivers, Primetime Raz, to form up onto the grid. We're waiting for the lights. Is there a glitch? No, there isn't. There's 5 red lights. And away we go. It seemed like a very poor start for Felix 1. Nux already alongside him. And it looks like he's going to go around the outside of turn 1. Can he get ahead? Felix 1 just getting the jump into the braking zone. But Nux braking well later and having the inside for turn 2 and 3. He is now ahead of Felix 1 and up into second place.
There's an accident.
There's an accident behind with Big Boy Jack Jackson and Toss the Caber. One of the reserves Toss the Caber there in the second Williams, but his teammate out in front still pretty uncontested into turn 1. And Kev up to 4th position. Phase Pantera dropped down 2 up and now into 6th. Charlie up to 5th, but Shocked maintains his lead and is pretty got a pretty good gap now. 7 tenths already going to the end of sector 2 now. There's a spin behind. That's Kev. Kev in the wall. I believe he lost his wing there. I did see a bit of carbon fire. Maybe it was only half of his wing, but he has spun on the exit of turn 9. Nux following Shocked, 8 tenths behind. That gap is only growing. Shocked showing very good pace on this opening lap, getting those tires up to temperature, showing a lot of grip, and he's almost got that second gap already by the end of lap 1. Felix 1 dropping back for a position, but now behind Nux. He's gaining on this on the straight. He's not going to be close enough for a move here. But yeah, definitely not getting a good start from my point of view. I was on board with Felix because of the camera angle. Kev in the pits further proving his front wing damage. But yeah, Felix won. It just seemed like he didn't get the start. He didn't have the revs, it seemed like, and he just got bogged down at the start. Not at anti-stall as much, but
yeah, just not at those 13,000 RPM that most drivers like to typically sort of settle that on the race launch.
Yeah, definitely, and on the telemetry, usually they'll apply 3 bars of power and it will grow towards the 5th light, and that would be optimal. That's at least what I do to get very grippy starts. We've already got a retirement from Toss the K, but he's retired in the pits early, giving up from the reserve there in the Williams. Not really putting up a fight when there could have easily been a safety car towards the end, but that's not going to go over well probably with the stewards. But as I'm following on board with Felix, when he's got 5 tenths gap to Nux, and then a further 1.7 gap already by the end of lap 2 to Shocked Ash, spinning around turn 12 there. He's now dropped down to 17th position. Charlie in P4, after jumping face Pantera, he's got a 2.5 gap to Felix in P4, and with Pantera right behind him, 4 tenths. DRS now enabled as it is lap 3, racing up to just outside that second gap, but he is on those mediums, so he will make a big difference towards the end of the race. He's going to be a big factor towards the end on fresh softs. Magnum Gallardo, one of the other reserves in the McLaren, he's 7 tenths behind, racing up to Havina, and Havina, Gabri, Vertex, Freestyler, Cool Guy, all in that train up to what is about 4th or 6th, depending on racing up to if you can stay within that second of Pantera. But yeah, definitely a train from 6th down to 12th, so very close from this top 12. Everyone else behind has either spun or pit. But yeah, Shocked coming to the end of lap 3 now. It's only grown another second this lap, showing very early dominance, and if he doesn't get a seat after this, I don't know what can make him get a seat, unless obviously there is no open ones, but I believe there is an open seat somewhere, or at least up for debate,
yeah,
from what I've heard. So yeah, Shock definitely putting in performance here, the second of the Polish drivers. Obviously his counterpart being Pantera, who's taken all 3 wins as we have mentioned multiple times. But these Polish drivers in Div 1, it seems like nothing can stop them.
Yeah, it's been a sort of pretty common occurrence, I think, across all the major leagues actually, that Polish drivers are just pretty much top dogs, essentially.
Yeah, so rise of Poland in the community of F1.
Yeah.
And it's showing a first hand here, and that's Freestyler spinning through turn 8 towards the back. He's now made that down to 11th, the non-spinners of this race. We've got Vit coming into the pit, and he's got his third DNF of the season. 3 out of 4 for Vit after scoring his first point in Portugal. An early retirement on lap 3 for him here. So Shocked coming across the line. Felix actually gotten past Nux, as I haven't seen, probably in the DRS, and he's making a gap close down to Shocked. Is this an early pit stop from Magnum Gallardo, or is this because of front wing? It is a stop that has been planned. He's stopping on lap 4 there for a very early stop, maybe suggesting he's going for that 2 stop. But yeah, so we got Shocked in the lead. Felix on the chase. He's closed down that gap 3 tenths ever since getting past Nux. And Nux just slightly falling out of DRS briefly here. So yeah, can Felix close down that gap to Shocked? Obviously starting second on the grid, not getting a great start, and there is Big Boy spun going into turn 5. He's now retired. No, he hasn't retired. He was lagged for a bit. Or there was Mercedes stopped towards turn 5 on the minimap. I don't know if that was just Vit's AI. But yeah, Felix, can he close down this gap, put on a race to Shocked, obviously the closest to him on pace, only a tenth separating them in qualifying. Charlie just getting overtaken here by Pantera in the DRS. Pantera now up to P4, back into his starting position, so Pantera will be happy with that after getting what was quite a poor start, losing 2 positions to both Charlie and Kev. Kev retiring, and Vertex, we have our first on-track DNF, and there's a safety car, an early safety car, lap 5 now. I'm going to be on board with Adam Kev, see what exactly happened. Could this be an Ash? Could this be what happened to Ash? He seems to have he's on the racing track, he's on the inside there, so I think he might have clipped the inside of his car, bounced back onto the circuit of that pit lane. So maybe contact with the pit lane barrier, as we saw, I believe, with Ash. And this is going to cause a reaction. How many people can we see in the pits? Could this be helpful to anyone doing that 2-stop? Obviously, Gallardo is going to get pretty much a free pit stop out of this if people don't pit. He's already shown that he's going to be doing a 2-stop. He's not going to make those medium tires go to the end. And it is Shocked who dives in. Will Felix, Nux, everyone is just following them in. So top 5 in the pits, racing up to the first of them not to. Maybe that's because his teammate is in the pits in front of him, or he just wants to stay out on those mediums because he obviously just on them. So maybe he's doing that 1-stop. So this could fall into racing up to his hands. Everyone going onto the mediums that has just pit. And I reckon those who started on the mediums have just got a big boost from this. Starting on those medium tires and coming into now will be a 1-stop for most people towards the end of this race. And I mean, interesting to note, Pantera, Felix and Charlie all in the hards. Same with Raz and Jack Jackson. So maybe these guys are trying to make these hards last to the end. I don't know if they can. I haven't personally done testing on the hards myself, being only a sprint race driver.
Yeah, hards aren't really a tire I like to go on. It's normally mediums, the tires I like to sleep.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah, so the mediums being probably the preferred tire, but we saw it with Pantera in Imola. Maybe these guys just taking notes of him. Pantera did that switch to hards early on and came home with a comfortable win there. So these guys on the hard compound tires who could maybe make it to the end probably will, because it is the hards around Spain. It is kind of a tire wear circuit, not that much, but these guys could definitely go to the end.
Yeah.
And these people who may be shocked, Cool Guy racing up to Nux, all on the medium compound of tires, probably making another stop. This could cause a comfortable situation for both Felix, Pantera and Charlie, the only guys in the top 10 to be on those hards. This could be a replica of what happened with Imola. So unless maybe Shocked could unless Shocked could come back on those softs towards the end, which very much could happen. He does have the pace over everyone, but he's got to obviously clear Cool Guy and Racing Opta beforehand. So Cool Guy, actually, as I've just noticed, he's up 16 positions from his grid start. So
Ooh,
starting
wow.
on those mediums, obviously didn't get a lap time. Started P18, I believe, and now up to what is P2 on track after not making a stop yet, but most people behind him, excluding those three that I have said, and Raz and Jack Jackson. So 5 people on the hards. They will all be the only people probably not to stop left in this race. Everyone else will. So he's got himself into a handy position there, effectively what I would say around P6, unless they can create a gap and make that effective P4, if they can get that pit stop gap to 11th and 12th of Raz and Jackson. Racing up to leading the pack now, going into what is the end of sector 2. Could we see the safety car in this lap? We do have a strangling Asim Kev towards the back. We haven't got the signal that the safety car will be in, so we could be going racing on the end of lap 10. No, the safety car now called in as Kev joins the back. So we're going to get underway on lap 9 here. And racing up to lead us away, the man in the Aston Martin hasn't stopped yet, started on those medium compound tyres, the only driver in the top 10 to do so. He has shown he has pace, and he goes very early, loses it actually through turn 16 there, but he'll stick to his position as there is no overtaking allowed. And Cool Guy is actually going to get the run on him after getting the better exit, and he's going to go now into well, what is side by side? Could he stick it up the inside? He does, and he takes now P1 in that AlphaTauri. There's already a spin behind. Ooh. That's Pantera. Pantera is out, so our race, not race leader, our race favourite, I would say, and our championship leader is out. And after a collision, what was with Nux and Nux?
Oh, and Shocked is spun as well.
And Shocked is spun, so all the top guys seeming to have now been affected by a, I'm going to say not a lap 1 incident, but you know, first lap after safety car. Could Nux now have damage after a collision with Pantero? I didn't see what happened. I just saw an Alpine really just spin in the background, and I didn't see someone go with him. I just saw the fading of the name Pantera, so obviously he did get collected and Shocked. Spinning on the exit of turn 5, maybe not getting those rears up to temperature, but we've got Cool Guy into the lead, up 17 positions. And he is now leading this race from Felix, who's on the hard compound tyres, probably going to go to the end. And with his teammate racing up to behind, who's probably let Felix one go, trying to chase down Cool Guy. He runs off the top 3. Charlie behind on the hards as well. He could go to the end. And what I thought maybe would have had to settle behind Pantera after an incident, he now is ahead. Shocked is into the pit, so maybe he has front wing damage. I'm going to go on board with him here through the pits and see what happened. Or see what damage he has if he's just putting on a fresh set of tyres. He does have front wing damage, and he's putting on the hards to go to the end of the race. So very unlucky from Shocked after showing very promising. He still could come back with a safety car here, but definitely very frustrating for him after being the fastest in qualifying and showing pace before that first safety car. And we've got a spinning Raz and Asim Kev. So first, second, and third, all out of the points. One didn't show up. One is now out, and one is in 14th after 2 spins in this race already.
Yeah, I don't know what happened with that incident with Pantera, but I checked with the Alpine drivers. None of them had wing damage, so
yeah, so another had damage. So I don't know if it was maybe Pantera behind getting spun, not letting Nux get damage there, or if it just wasn't, if it was kind of like tire to tire. I'm gonna see if I can get the information from Pantera there. So, and Raz has now DNF'd. That's on the exit of turn 15 going into 16. It's mid corner. Gonna see what happened with him running on board with Shock, to see if we can see that car stranded. Could this be another pit lane incident? And it seems like it is. All Shocked getting very scared there. Obviously, ghosting is on, so he isn't really in danger there, but stemming on the brakes, locking up that front tyre. And we've got Gabri spun through turn A. As I said before this race, these uphill chicanes going to take a lot of drivers, and turn 8 especially, it seems like this race has taken multiple victims already, both in qualifying and the race. So Gabri, the next to full victim to that, he lets Atom Kev go through. Already 5 people DNF'd, Toss the K-Bar and Vit, 2 early retirements, all within lap 4. Vertex was the last of the people to crash before that first safety car. Obviously, Vertex incident did bring out the safety car after colliding with, I believe, the pit wall. Then Pantera off the safety car restart going into turn 2. He collided with what we believe was a collision with Nux, causing him to go out, and Raz another collision with the pit lane entry. So maybe it's this entry, people just going a bit wide and collected by that wall, setting themselves back on track as the game likes to do. That's what we've seen. I'm just on board with Atom Kev there, just watching him take laps. But Felix One has taken the lead from Cool Guy, as we have been talking. Felix now leads, probably not going to stop again. Cool Guy is, same with Racing Opta. So Felix looking very strong to take a win in this season, from what I would say. Just 20, about to be 21 laps remaining, and I've got information of what happened. Nux had spun in front of Pantera and he had no way to go. The car didn't ghost, and he just seemed to obviously go into him, taking off a tyre, and that's why we saw Nux spun round. So he spun on his own, probably on cold tyres, and Pantera just nowhere to go, and unfortunately out of this race.
Yeah, I've been in a few of those as my time in as a driver, and
yeah, I have as well, and it's very frustrating obviously when you know it isn't your fault or the other driver's fault. It's just one of those racing incidents that happens. So obviously no blame to Nux there. He just spun his own fault, and because of the lobby not ghosting him in time, Pantera has got had taken off a wheel and is out of this race. But interesting to note, we've got a train from P2 down to P4. Charlie on the back of that, Cool Guy leading it. Both racing up to and Cool Guy yet to make a stop, still in mediums after starting on them. And Charlie starting on those soft compound tyres, going to the hards after the safety car, and he's going to go into P2 now after Cool Guy pits and has a DRS over Racing Opta and a slipstream, and he comfortably goes past before the braking zone of turn 1, and he's now into P2, going to chase after Felix. Maybe if Felix makes a mistake, Charlie could be right there to snatch that lead away from him. So don't go anywhere. Still over half the race to go. And we've got Magnum Gelato, I believe, yet to make... No, he did make an early stop. He is doing a 2-stop though, because he got on those medium compound tyres lap 4. And he's going to have to make another stop. So apart from Felix, Charlie and Jack Jackson, everyone else has to make another stop. I mean, also Shocked actually, who is on the hards. I'm going to get the tyres up. Everyone on the hards, as you can see on our stream. Cool Guy, one of them, actually, he went on to the hard compound tyres after pitting. Everyone on those hards is probably going to the end of the race. Everyone else will have to make another stop. Maybe with the exception of someone like Havina or Atom Kev, who have been on those tyres far less long than the rest, and same with Gallardo, but everyone else, pretty much all those medium runners will probably have to make a late stop to softs towards the end of the race. So could we see a shock podium from maybe Jack Jackson if he can keep it consistent? He's currently behind Havina for a battle of P5. they're just trailing Gallardo there, who's just over a second up the road. Jack Jackson just still within DRS. He's only 4 tenths behind, so we could see an overtake within the next couple of laps from him. I'm going to stay on board with Jack Jackson, see what he does compared to Havino. There's a battle behind with Big Boy and Nux. Nux after spinning after safety car restart, and he is now in P8 after recovering from that. He's behind Big Boy. A tenth could be seen overtake from him down this straight. Both have DRS and slipstream, but nothing doing. Cool Guy spins. Turn 7 and 8. Another victim falling to those turns.
Yeah.
It's very fast paced through both uphill chicanes, but especially that one, and the curve very easy to spin out on, rather than 11 and 12 where you just have to go maybe a bit wide, turn that wheel a bit too much. But now going down the main straight of this 4-car train, you can see what kind of moves can go. It seems like Nux is going to pull out, and same with Jack Jackson. Both guys going up the inside. Jack Jackson makes the move on Havina, and Nux does the same thing on Big Boy, getting him into the braking, having the inside line. So 2 overtakes happening in this train, and we're going to see if Nux and Havina will have the same battle, or if Havina can come back on Jack Jackson here. All on 8-lap tyres, these guys, so everyone pinning under that safety car. A bit of a lock up from Havina there, just following Jack Jackson now, and Nux right behind. Big Boy slightly falling off a bit, and Jack Jackson slightly pulling away from them. Could we see a overtake from Nux going down this straight? It doesn't seem like it. He's got barely any ERS, only 6% there going before the braking. So he's going to have to save compared to the people around him, all 70, 80 plus. So Nux seems to not be good at ERS management. He just uses it a lot, but it seems to work for him. He's currently P4 in the championship. So we're going to see what can happen here between him and Havina. From a helicopter shot now down the main straight. Will Nux be close enough? It doesn't seem like he's gaining, going back on board with him, and he will stay in P7 for this lap and for the time being. So this 4-way train, definitely something to keep an eye on. I'm going to stay on board with these guys, as these are the closest drivers. Big Boy slightly falling away. He's now 8 tenths behind Nux there, so this could be forming into a 3-way train here. Nux going up the inside. I thought he might have had the move there on exit, but no, he just sticks behind Nux for now. He Nux definitely putting the pressure on Havina, maybe leading him into a mistake, as he doesn't have that much ERS left. So now Havina down the straight from turn 9 to turn 10. No move being done here. Nux just staying behind, and same with Havina, who does have that slipstream and DRS to Jack Jackson and the ERS advantage. So it seems like Havina's in the more, I would say, dominant position over Nux. A 3-second penalty for racing up to, he's currently in P3, the first of the guys who will have to make another stop. That's just going to throw a bit of spanner into the works. He does have that 5-second gap on Magnum Gallardo. Big Boy gets past Nux in the DRS there. So there's just another swap for position between 7th and 8th. This battle going to go on for quite a while, I'd say, until these guys have to stop again. I want to say that Charlie is coming up to Shocked. Shocked is actually disconnected or left the session. So if he has left that session manually and not retired, that is a big problem for him. But very disappointing, showing very early pace and getting caught up in an incident. And I believe in the chat he did say who is racing up to, so maybe a collision between them two.
No, I don't know. I don't see anything.
Yeah, so maybe a bit of desync.
Might be a bit of a desync, but If he has left the session on purpose,
Yeah,
that could probably
that's
actually maybe cost him the chance of actually having a seat at Williams.
definitely. Obviously, Williams all full. Iron Apple filling in for Ads after Ads taking a break from league racing. For what I've heard, he's one of my mates. He just hasn't been league racing whatsoever, so he's taking a bit of a mental break and dropping down to that reserve position. Iron Apple taking his place after reserving for him in Imola and taking up that full-time seat for Portimao. He isn't here tonight, Iron Apple, after just not joining the lobby and getting that late replacement of Tosakeba, who did retire at lap 1. So yeah, back to this train that we were following just only a couple laps ago. Big Boy has gone ahead of Havina, and he's now up into P6. And Nux just following behind in P8 at the back of the train. He's just behind Havina. Havina still has the ERS advantage. Can he make a move down the straight? He seems pretty close, only 3/10 behind. He uses his ERS. He's really wanting to get past Havina here. Havina also using the... He's actually not using ERS, he's just using the slipstream. Nux just can't get past, so maybe he's running a high downforce setup compared to Havina. Not getting that straight line speed that he maybe needs. And yeah, he's just using his ERS a lot. Almost goes into the back, almost outbreaks himself. Almost goes straight into the back of Havina, luckily doesn't. And almost does it again. He seems to be braking well later than Havina here. Which from my time of racing Havina in Division 1, Division AU and Division 1 from last season, Havina does brake quite late, so Nux really pushing the limits here. He's in the DRS, shocked. It's AI, and he goes up the inside, locks the front, and there's actually collision.
Contact.
So it seemed like Havina came across, and after having what was the corner, I would say, going into turn 11, because it's not really an overtaking opportunity, maybe turn 10, but definitely not turn 11, and that is now, I believe, front wing damage for Nux, as he's now come into the pit. He gets a 3-second penalty for cutting that corner going into the pit lane. Could this be front wing damage for him? I'm going to see the pit stop here. Doesn't seem like it. He's going to make his pit stop now for second set of mediums. 12 laps to go. 12 and a half, sorry. Laps to go, as Felix is just coming through turn 9 now. But yeah, so another collision with Nux. Maybe not his fault this time. Maybe it was, maybe not backing out, but Havina coming across maybe a bit early, getting ready for turn 11. I don't exactly have the recollection of what happened, but it did send Havina round. And Nux, who I believe he wasn't really close enough to make that move going into turn 10, and he did make a late dive. Never really got fully alongside. He was only halfway up the car, so Havina definitely having the racing line and whatever he wanted there over Nux. So maybe a bit of racing incident, and it seems as Havina got spun around could be punishment for Nux.
Possibly. Depends on if Havina wants to actually push for a incident, or
if he sees himself in the wrong there, maybe. But it doesn't matter. That just opens up Jack Jackson a bit of pressure behind. Obviously, Big Boy still following, 7/10 behind him, but they don't have that extra 2 cars behind them in that train anymore. So I'm riding on board with Big Boy now, just seeing what he can do to maybe make a move on Jack Jackson within the coming laps. He doesn't have the gap right now, and he still has to make that extra stop. Racing up turn, still on that set of medium tyres, 21 laps. He could be going for a medium to soft here.
Yeah, well,
Showing
racing
maybe
up
some
there
pace.
is quite known, I think, for his tyre management. He's able to take them quite a large distance compared to a lot of the other drivers.
Yeah, and he actually comes into the pits now, so I believe he is going to slot on those soft compound tyres. Going to see here the Aston Martin reserve. He really races full time in Division 1. Division AU, sorry. And he has shown pace through there, and he's kind of copied and pasted that pace over to Div 1, reserving a couple races. Probably next in line, I would say, to get a full-time seat. He rejoins just behind Avina here in turn 6. Nux sets the fastest lap of the race of 1:18.2. He's currently in P10, so he would get that extra point. He actually goes into P9 now, head of Big Boy. So making that undercut work, even though he did have that collision with Havina, he slots in ahead of Big Boy. So that is obviously showing the older tyres have no pace. So Gallardo and Havina definitely in trouble a bit towards the end, maybe.
Yeah, possibly. It's
Racing Opta on the soft compound tyres now. He's currently in P6, obviously, with 2 people ahead of him yet to stop. Could he maybe chase down that 15-second gap to Jack Jackson, take away what would be effective P3? Could he get on the podium, or will he have to settle for 4th? There's 10 laps remaining in this race for Racing Opta as he's coming across the line now. He's going to get past Havina here. He's on fresh softs and in the DRS. A lot of ERS and a lot of weaving from Havina there, but Racing Up to get through safely before the braking zone, and he now takes P5. He's got 11 seconds to Jack Jackson. I actually read it wrong before, but he has dropped down 2 seconds already from that gap half a lap ago, so that's going to be someone we've got to watch out towards the end of the race. Just waiting for Gallardo's stop here. He went very long in Portimao, if I remember correctly, and he's proving the same thing here now. There's a Hassel freestyler who I believe disconnected before. He was racing in 5th position, no spin, and he left the session, so I believe that's just him being disconnected, but he's now about to be lapped by P3 of Gallardo. Will he come into the pits this lap? No. Maybe could be taking those soft compound tyres, medium compound tyres to the end. And if he will, those tyres will be screaming. Obviously 29 laps old at the end after pinning on lap 4. But, you know, it's tier 1, obviously people with different skill sets. He could be very good at preserving his tyres. Yeah, racing up to, and Nux just quickly takes that away from him, an extra 2/10 on that. So racing up to maybe in clean air this lap. Obviously he's got clean air for the whole lap this time. No DRS though to assist him down that main straight, but could he take that fastest lap? Maybe. He's on that soft compound tyres, and now on his second lap he gets a bit wayward through the exit of turn 5 there, downhill. No spin there, but that could just, if he is trying to go for that fastest lap, could affect him a little bit. And same thing with turn 9 there, he's not liking this back end very much. Let's see where he goes through turn 10, takes that very well. No lift through 11 and brakes for 12, so got that. Nux just getting ahead of his teammate Ash there, maybe getting let by his slower teammate, who is still getting used to Will, as is very well known in the Discord. Cool guy. Up next for Nux, could he make very easy work of one of his championship competitors? Only 2 points separating these two, so definitely wanting to get past each other. Felix with a 3-second penalty there, that and Ash with a 5-second penalty for going into the pit lane a bit too quickly. But yeah, that 3-second penalty for Felix won't exactly affect him that much. He's got a 7-second gap to Charlie behind in the Alfa Romeo racing up to. He is now 8.6 seconds behind Jack Jackson's, still closing in on the Ferrari, who's on 18 lap old hards. But he does have a 3-second penalty, so he not only has to close down that 9 seconds in the time remaining, which isn't much, he has to extend a further 3 seconds on that. So looking maybe unlikely from him, and if Gallardo does stop now with 6 laps remaining, going on to softs, if he does, he will settle for P4, and not even fastest lap. Obviously Nux holds that right now, as he has a 6-second gap to Havina behind, and then Cool Guy following behind his teammate of Havina after pretty unfortunate from him all race. Nux is just getting past him there in the DRS. He moves himself up into P7, and he's going to make quick work of Havina maybe as soon as he closes up to him. Looking on track for any other battles, maybe Ash and Gabri. Ash in the DRS, and he's about to make that move on the McLaren driver. He's now up into P11, got one more place, 12 seconds though, if he wants to make that top 10, plus extra penalties. So I don't know if he will break top 10 for this race, but if he does, would be very good work, with obviously now 6 laps remaining, almost 5, as Felix is coming around the final sector now. Shown pretty comfortable ever since Shocked, Pantera and Nux all got into their own collisions.
Yeah.
He's shown pretty comfortable pace over the rest of the field, especially Charlie, his closest competitor, both stopping for the hards under that safety car 20 laps ago. And yeah, he's really controlled this field. And he's coming up 2 laps Shocked for a second time here. And he's coming down into the end of sector 2 on lap 28. Not much else is going on. Maybe this battle towards the mid pack of Havina and Nux. As I did say, Nux did make pretty easy work of Havina as soon as he got close inside that second range, and Cool Guy almost going up the inside of Havina there, and actually goes into the back, and he loses a bit of his front wing. Nux getting very wayward through turn 8 there, and Havina's going to go up the inside of turn 9, and he now retakes P6. Cool Guy with front wing damage, lifting a lot through turn 9 that was, and yeah, he's got no pace, and he definitely doesn't have he doesn't have that end plate on the right hand side there, so he's gonna have to come into pits. Very frustrating from Cool Guy. It seemed like Havina broke a little bit earlier than Cool Guy was expecting, and actually Cool Guy staying out. He believes he has a bit of quite a bit of a gap to Atom Kev, maybe staying in pit in the points positions. Or maybe even has the map too, so he's definitely going to see if he can stay in that points positions. Obviously about 18 seconds to Ash behind if he is going to drop outside the points, and we're going to rejoin for this battle of P6. Havina cut the corner and gained a position.
Yeah, it was on Nuts at the end of turn 1.
Yeah, so I would have assumed Nux got by, and then obviously you were riding on board. So what happened exactly?
Nux brakes a little bit heavy on the inside of turn 1, and I think and
there's a collision there.
Oh,
So Nux and Havina getting very feisty between each other.
well, I think it's warranted. I think that little bit of a love tap there from the Nux and Havina. I mean, Havina pretty much stole the position off Nux illegally, so
Yeah, but obviously getting that penalty
yeah,
that is deserved. But
yeah.
yeah. So Havina is now P7 behind Nux. And Cool Guy actually pits. He realized he is losing too much time, and that is going to promote Ash into the points. P10, but with penalties, he will drop behind Gabri if they stay within that 5-second gap. 4 laps remaining now. Almost 3 as Felix comes across the line now. Lap 31. Oh, 33. 3 laps remaining. And Felix has that gap to about 9 seconds now to Charlie behind. And Magnum, who has stayed out 24 laps on those mediums. So I doubted him in Portimao, you know, consistently going longer than what I thought. And he's done it again here. So he is the master of tyre wear, it seems like. He's gone 25 laps on medium compound tyres. Jack Jackson right behind him, so I'm going to go back on board with this battle because it's for the podium spots. Jack Jackson just kind of sat behind Gallardo here. Gallardo is going to be pretty much screaming on those tyres. I wonder how much percent he does have on them. They're roughly on the same ERS, so Jack Jackson with fresher tyres and on that hard compound tyre, which will be faster in this stage of the race. Could he find his way onto the podium?
Oh.
And Kev gets the 3-second penalty there, and I actually thought that was for Gallardo, as he did get a bit away with 3 turn 8. Actually, interesting to note, Gallardo does have a 3-second penalty. So Jack Jackson, if he just stays right behind him, which I think he might happen with only 2 laps remaining, he will take that podium position, but he'll want to take this on track. And Gallardo braking very early there. Seems like he wanted to let Jack Jackson by without giving him the room. So it's very interesting there. But Jack Jackson now into P3 on track. And I believe he will now see this home. Maybe Gallardo actually letting him by, trying to get the DRS. Maybe a bit too far back. Maybe. Yeah, he's not on ERS. And he won't make the move going into turn 1. Jack Jackson just staying in that P3 position on track, and I believe will keep that for the rest of this race. So yeah, Gallardo with that 3-second penalty, he's got a 6-second gap behind 2 racing up to, he also has a 3-second penalty. He's in P5, and a little tap there from Gallardo and Jackson. Gallardo braking a bit later. Don't think any damage was done. No damage was done, and didn't seem like Jack Jackson got disturbed by that. So all fine and well for this battle in P3, and a new fastest lap, a 17.3, smashing Nux's fastest lap by Cool Guy. He won't get the point. He's currently in P12 with quite a bit of a gap to Gabri and Ash ahead. Now onto the final lap of the race. Felix, so I'm going to just wait to the end of the straight to switch on board with Felix for the end of this race. Jack Jackson seeming like he will have the podium position, but just in case any incident might occur, Gallardo is going to want to make the move. It doesn't seem like he does. He goes to the inside and he spins. This is why I wanted to stay on board, and he now spins on older tyres. This could promote racing up to now into P4. So Magnum going for a move that really wasn't needed. It wasn't necessary. He wasn't going to have the position over Jack Jackson. He's just cost himself 4th place.
Yeah, looking at the telemetry on the wheel, it looks as though the tyres are done.
Yeah, probably are.
On them, they're done.
Yeah, obviously he did have that spin though, so would have elevated them. But Felix won, coming around the final corner of the final lap to become the first winner after Pantera. He goes into the wall just to celebrate. Charlie comes home for a well-deserved P2. Both of them coming into the pits after lap 8 on the under safety car conditions. Felix, the second driver to win in Division 1 Season 4. Charlie comes home for second place. Jack Jackson now coming across the line, the third of those people to go onto the hard compound tyres under the safety car. He comes home for the third and final podium position. Racing Upta takes fourth. Magnum Gallardo taking fifth after making probably a move that wasn't really necessary. It seems like he did have that penalty over Jack Jackson. He's cost himself just that extra couple of points. Can you take us through the rest of the field as I'm going to now sort out interviews with our top three?
Yeah. So yeah, we've got Gabby came home in P10 with
Yeah, and good news, the top three all agreeing to an interview here, so gonna get them into a party and sort that out after what was a great couple, well, an hour and a half, no, just an hour and 15 minutes there of racing action in both qualifying and then the race. So all three of those are gonna join the party, and we're gonna have a post-race interview hosted by me. Thank you to you, Labyrinth, for joining me once again for another round of racing, and it will be the same time next week in Spain. I mean, no, not Spain, it won't be next week actually.
no,
There is a week break,
week.
yeah, where we will be racing around the French circuit of Paul Ricard, so everyone make sure join us then, and we're just going to wait for these people to filter into the party. We're going to wait for Jack Jackson, see if he can join and interview him first. If he doesn't join by the time we get into the lobby, I will just go straight to Felix, our race winner. So yeah, we're just going to wait for them there. Charlie now joins, so I might actually go to him first. Charlie, can you hear us?
Yep, I can hear you.
So, Charlie, you come through for P2 there, pitting under safety car conditions for the hard compound tyres. Obviously, the strategy to go on after that early safety car. How was the race from your perspective?
I mean, the start was... I was happy with my start, so I managed to get into P5, could have gone P4 if I wasn't forced off a little bit. But when the safety car came out, it came probably at the perfect time because my left front tire was beginning to have like very high temperatures, and then I instantly knew to box for hards. And once I saw everyone crash in front of me in turn 1 on lap 9, well, turn 2 on lap 9, I instantly knew that if I avoided that, I'm on for the podium. And then I think it was Scott, I don't know how to pronounce his name, but he got forced off. Then that lost his position, then I got P4, then the other guys had to pit. And that gave me the position for second, and I knew there was no point in pushing because, of course, Felix was going to easily win this race.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So obviously, second place is still very great for Tier 1 here. It's been quite a while since you've been on the podium, I believe. Maybe I think back to Azerbaijan, the only possible time that I've been here that you could have got a podium. Very good race there. But so you said that there was incident between Shocked and was it Racing Opto, I believe?
I think it was, yeah.
So if he did get forced off, yeah, around turn 4 to 5, yeah.
4, yeah.
Yeah. So maybe possibly a penalty for Racing Up to dropping him behind Magnum. But yeah, thank you, Charlie. Very good race. And we'll see you back for round 5 after the week break in France. Best of luck to you for the rest of the season.
Yeah, thanks.
Moving on next to Jack Jackson, our P3 runner in the Ferrari. How are you going?
Good, how are you?
Yeah, I'm great, thank you. Obviously, you were one of the 4 or 5 drivers to go into those hard compound tyres after the safety car. Obviously, the strategy to be on.
Yeah, well, I qualified 11th, so I started on the medium, so I wasn't hard to sit, so I went onto the hard. I looked after him the first on the 15 laps, and then I pushed real hard at the end to make sure I could finish my break. Eventually, I finished in the end.
Yeah, so very good comeback drive there. The safety car really helping you out. It seemed like a lot. And there was an incident towards the end of the race with Magnum. I was on board with Magnum for that. It seemed like he just dove you.
Yeah, I'm not sure what he was doing. I looked all together for a second time penalty, and I'm not sure what he was doing. But I see myself.
Yeah, definitely so. Other than that, you pretty much flew under the radar. Obviously, after that middle part of the race where you were in that 4-way train. Did you see what happened between Nux and Havina?
No, I did not. I was ahead of him, so I saw that something happened.
Okay, all good there. And again, very good job getting onto the podium in Tier 1. And we'll see you again after the break, hopefully, for France. Very good. And very best of luck for the rest of the season. And now we're going to move on to our winner, Felix 1. Can you hear us, mate?
Yes, I can.
Very good race there. You seem to just control after that safety car and the incidents. What was going through your head pretty much when that incidents happened?
Well, once I saw, don't know what's the name, it was Scott, I believe, what's the name again?
I believe it's SHKOOD or whatever, so I just pronounce it shocked. We've seen multiple pronunciations.
Shocked, okay, yeah, that one. Yeah, once I saw him spinning around, then obviously behind me Nux and Face being taken out as well, Face and Terra. I was just really, well, in control of the race, I guess. Wasn't really much happening after that. I just stayed calm, yeah, controlled the race, wasn't really pushing much, just bringing it to the end, saving the tires as much as I could.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, the only person really contending you at whatsoever would be Charlie, and he was about half a tenth pace slower than you for the whole race. So, very good to see you back on the top. Obviously, being our what is the word? Our champion of last season. So, the defending champion, that is. How great is it to now finally be back on that top spot?
Yeah, I mean, it's taken me a while. It's the first win of the season. Obviously with the Pantera having crashed out, hopefully this can put me back in the fight. I still want to win the title this season. I think I still can. I have probably like still like 15-20 point gap. But I think I can make it up. Season is still very long, and hopefully we'll be in for an exciting fight.
Yeah, definitely, and I'd hope to see that exciting fight. Obviously, Bahrain, you had that second place, and ever since then, so the second and third race of the season, pretty frustrating from you. You got taken out in Imola, from what I remember, and then Portugal, the same thing happened to you again, where you went out on that final corner.
Well, I didn't get taken out in Imola, I just crashed out on my own, which was really frustrating for me. But, yeah, I guess in the end, I'm now finally back on the top step. I can finally start attacking again. Hopefully this can reset my season, and, yeah, put me back on top.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for that, and thank you to the other two who have joined us for an interview. Best of luck to all three of you for the rest of the season, and we'll see you in 2 weeks' time for the French Grand Prix. Thank you. And thank you to everyone who has watched this broadcast. This has been Division 1, the first block of rounds. And as I said before, French Grand Prix hosted on the 20th of February. Make sure to join us back on the Ventani YouTube channel, where all broadcasts of that round will be here. Thank you everyone, and